Sagan.
Hello YouTube, how's everybody doing? I hope you all doing well, doing great, getting to ride today. Why does it rain so much here? Alright, today I want to talk about the best beginner's bike. I think there are a couple types of beginners, and you know, the level of experience, it will differ the kind of bike you should get. The ultimate goal is you want to buy a bike that you will want to stay with for at least, you know, a couple of years. You don't want to get a bike and then in a few months be tired of it and, you know, try to sell that bike. That's how you lose money. That's not a smart idea. It's not a smart investment. You want to get a bike that is a good investment for you. So you might get a bike now, you know, ride it for a couple of years, put some you have some time to put some aftermarket parts into it, make it your own, you know, and that's the kind of bike you want to get. If you just get a bike thinking, oh, you know, I'm just gonna get a bike for just a few months to learn how to ride, and then I'm gonna straight jump to a 600cc Super Sport or a 1000cc Super Sport, you don't want to do that. That's not a smart way to go. Unless you got like shitload of money, then be my guest and hey, you know, if you want to buy me a 1000cc Super Sport, I'm not stopping you. So, you know, take that into consideration. Moving on, now the types of beginner riders, I think there are those that have never sat on a motorcycle. So you guys want to be very careful selecting your first bike. And then there are those that have been riding dirt for some time, but they never owned a street legal bike. They never rode on the street, so those are the second category of beginner riders. And then there are those that, you know, been riding for just a couple of months, just passed their MSF course or whatever. What is it called? MSF? I think MRF, whatever it is. You guys passed that course and you guys are ready to ride. So those are the three types of beginner riders. Let's start with the first one. The one that never sat on a bike. Alright. For you guys, you should probably stick with either a Ninja 300 or one of those 500cc bikes. I really like the Honda 500F. I think that's a great bike. You can probably definitely, you know, get used to that and be able to ride for a few years, and you should be able to develop your skills with that fairly easy. And I've ridden that bike once and it was very smooth, very smooth, very linear. So you can learn on that bike if you've never sat on a bike and still, you know, grow with the bike. Because it's 500cc, it doesn't have a lot of horsepower, but you can really, you know, learn and develop your skills of riding on that bike. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to get a big bike that you can't handle, and then you'll be struggling. Then you won't be able to achieve the ultimate goal, which is learning how to ride. So I would recommend a Ninja or one of those 500Fs from Honda. Now, for my second category, the people that have rode dirt, you know, for some time, but they have never ridden a street legal bike. For you guys, I think you should definitely pick up this FZ07. Now this bike will be great for you guys because there's not a big difference between this and a dirt bike. I think, you know, it's the seating position is just like a dirt bike, a supermoto, you know, so that shouldn't be a big change for you guys, because if you go with a super sport and you're like all the way down here leaning forward, that might be a little bit uncomfortable for you guys at first. So I wouldn't recommend you guys jumping onto a super sport. I would recommend a street fighter like a FZ07, or if you got enough money, get a Ducati, or you know, whatever, anything in the 700cc, 800cc, you know, upright seating position sports bike. That will be your best bet, I think. And you know, you guys know I love this bike. Yeah, this bike is a great bike for those who've ridden dirt and want to come on to be, you know, come right on the street. It's very forgiving at sometimes, but it's also very jerky sometimes, and it's got a lot of power to get the wheel up. That's why I don't recommend it for the first type of beginners that have never ridden a bike. I really don't recommend this bike for those guys. So that's what I recommend for the dirt riders. Get a street fighter, anything, you know, anything north of 700 cc's. I think you'll be happy with that. You'll be able to grow into it. You know, you'll learn how to ride on the street and still be comfortable while doing so, like you will in the dirt. Now on to my third beginner riders. You guys just got your license, but you took that course to learn, you know, your basic motorcycle skills, and you guys are now ready to ride. For you guys, I think you should be okay with the 600cc Super Sport, but be careful getting one. I would recommend either the Honda 600RR or the Yamaha R6. I wouldn't recommend, actually the Gixxer is pretty good too, but the reason why I recommend a Honda, because it's very linear. You know, if you go from the zero rev line to all the way to, you know, the red line, it's pretty linear. You know, there's not a lot of jerkiness. So if you like to, you know, live on the red line, I would probably recommend getting the 600RR. But if you want to take it easy, get used to the bike, learn, and then maybe hit the red lines, I would recommend the R6. And R6 will be safer for that reason, because most of its power is up top. So if you're just, you know, babying it, keeping it low revs, then it's no different than this bike. And once you're ready, you can get up to those high revs and have a lot of power to you and have fun, you know? So that's the bike I would recommend for the third category. Just got done with work. I did like the first half of this video in the morning when I was coming to work. Figured I'll finish it now, then I'm done with work. Alright, where do we leave off? I think we left off finishing up the third type of a beginner rider. Those of you that will, you know, those of you that are okay with, should be okay with getting a super sport, just because, you know, they have a little bit of experience under their belt. And my best bet would be the R6 at the 600RR, like I said. So yeah, those are my I think that's how I would categorize a beginner rider. And, you know, just the types of bikes you should consider, the what cc level, which companies, and you know, I mean, nowadays they all make great bikes if you're planning on getting a new bike. But if you're planning on getting a used bike, I would do some research to make sure you get a year that doesn't have a lot of problems. But the new bikes, I'm sure you'll do just fine. They're not that crazy. All of them will last you a long time, as long as they are well maintained. It's always on the owner. I hate when people say, how reliable is this bike? every single machine is reliable as long as you take care of it. That's it. Maintenance is the biggest part. It's just a motor. If you're gonna let it rot in old oil and keep running it hard, running hard without changing its oil, without changing the brakes, without changing all the fluids, of course it's not gonna last that long, you know. But that's another video for another day. But for you beginner riders, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I will, I do and I will be sharing a lot of tips and tricks on how to maintain bikes, how to make sure they last you a long time. I'm a long time rider. I have a lot of experience with a lot of different types of bikes, so I know how they work, how to maintain them. I usually do, about 80-90% of the maintenance myself, so I will be doing a lot of videos on that as well, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, that's it for me today. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the section below and I will answer them to my best knowledge. And of course, always like the video and do share the video if you find helpful with your friends that are also looking to get new bikes. But yeah, catch you guys on the next one. My fucking mirror is all over the place. With this windscreen on, the wind is hitting me about, so here's my hand, right? So it's at the chest. Whoa. Don't want to get into an accident out here now, do we?